I'm going on a road trip in a few months, but maybe I should reconsider. I'm your host Youssef, and these are 10 scary road trip stories that will make you go the other way. Make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Anyways, let's hit the road. Number 10, the truck. From Redditor Sack of Mangoes, back in college I was driving home one late night, a 2-hour drive. I noticed this truck with round-shaped headlights following me on the freeway. Just thought we happened to be going the same way. Each freeway change, it was still following me. 50 miles later, it was still following me, staying behind me at a constant speed and good distance. I got a bit agitated. 2 hours later, I finally reached my exit to my hometown and it exited. I knew something was up. I instantly pulled into a 24-hour McDonald's drive-thru to see if it followed me still, and it followed me into the parking lot, and realizing I pulled in line to a drive-thru, it U-turned and drove off. When I left the McDonald's parking lot, I was paranoid that the truck was waiting just around the corner to re-follow me again. Luckily, it never reappeared, so I went home. To this day, I'm still not sure what its deal was. Number 9, ghost truck. From Redditor Testing the Theory, we were leaving a wedding we had attended that was held about 3 hours from home. My boyfriend had stayed sober in order to drive us home, and I was pretty crunk. As we were driving the dark country back roads to get back to the city, I was half dozing. I remember squinting because there seemed to be bright headlights washing over us, and then my boyfriend who was driving started screaming. Like full on screaming. Like I've never heard him do before or since. He swerved our car sharply to the side of the road, nearly into a ditch. I was now fully awake and said, "What? Are you okay?" He said that he saw a truck coming full bore towards us in the dark and honestly thought we were going to pass away. I looked behind us, a long straight road with no houses or streetlights. There was no sign of a truck or any kind of vehicle. No rear headlights on the road or any light from a truck's headlights, which we would have seen, and no sound of a truck or car or anything. But he was shaking, and I initially brushed it off as him maybe falling asleep at the wheel, which is already scary in and of itself. Number 8, the fake forest. From Redditor Team Mako N7, many years ago, a friend and I decided to visit our mutual friend at her university and spend the weekend with her. We had extremely detailed directions to follow, and we were told the trip should take about 3 hours. While nothing went wrong on our drive, it seemed to take forever. I don't remember exactly at what point the woods started, but I do remember traveling through these woods for a long time, perhaps an hour. We were already well past the 3-hour time frame my friend had given us by the time we left the woods. When we finally reached my friend's college town, it was nearly 4.5 hours since we'd left. We didn't get lost. We never hit traffic or stopped for more than a few minutes, but we quickly forgot about it since we were happy to spend the weekend with our friend. When the trip back was a little over 3 hours, we thought it was weird, but didn't think much of it at the time. It wasn't until my next trip to visit that I realized something had been strange. I spent that whole next trip waiting for the long path through the woods that we had been on the first time, but it never appeared. Following the same directions as the first time, the entire trip took me about 3 hours, as did every other trip I made out there in the following years. I don't know what happened, and I've never been able to replicate it. I still wonder what happened and where we really were when passing through those woods. Number 7, the voice of his mother. From a former Redditor, this story is from my grandpa. He's a retired long-distance truck driver, and he often drove through the night and early hours of the morning over unfamiliar roads. This one particular day, when my grandpa was in his 30s, it was between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., and he was driving down a twisting country road that was so narrow, only one vehicle could fit at a time. If two vehicles met from different locations, one would have to pull off the road to let the other pass. The road was empty save for my grandpa. On the right side of the road, there was thick woodland, and on the left, open fields and a lake. There were no street lights. The only light came from my grandpa's truck and the moon. It was pretty lonely. My grandpa was going steadily down the road and going a bit faster than he should have. When my grandpa said this, I always took it to mean he was blazing down the road as fast as the truck could go. He was listening to the radio and probably not paying much attention when he suddenly felt hands on his shoulder and a voice whisper his name in his ear. So close that he felt the breath on his skin, he recognized the voice, and it belonged to his mother, who had passed away a few years previously. Naturally, this spooked my grandpa, and he instinctively hit the brakes. Seconds later, his headlights lit up a pile of 3 crashed cars that took up the entire road. My grandpa stopped just short of the wreckage. If he hadn't braked when he did, he would have plowed straight into the cars. Number 6, end of the line. From Redditor Chase Sarah Sarah, I was driving from California to Ohio with my mom, and we were somewhere in the middle of South Dakota. The sun had gone down and my check engine light had recently come on when the highway just ended. The entire road was under construction and had been completely removed. All that remained was a dirt road with the occasional orange sign. We were the only car in sight and there were no buildings or any sign of life around. The combination of the dirt road, total darkness beyond our headlights, and the check engine light made for the longest white knuckle drive of my life. Number 5. Highway to Hell. From Redditor N. Doyle Worker, pulling into the back-end oil field in North Dakota. I was in a large RV pulling a truck. I just turned off a road that didn't seem to exist. Dirt, huge holes, and small boulders in the road construction, GPS said. Happily, I pulled onto this 2-lane highway at 1 a.m. No one was on the road, but huge Mad Max looking tractor trailers passing me at 80 miles per hour. The wind was whipping my tin can around like it had a grudge. I crested a large hill and all I saw were low-lying clouds glowing orangish red. The hills all had huge flames coming out of them, flares for natural gas burn off. The scene was like hell. Driving for hours through a valley populated only by fire and demonic trucks with an orange sky and a land 2,000 miles from my own. Number 4. Exploding Meteor. From Redditor 7 League Boots, it wasn't inexplicable by any means, but I was coming back from giving a presentation in northern Vermont in late February in 2012 at about 10 or 10:30 p.m. Snow everywhere, extremely clear sky, bright stars, etc. All of a sudden, there was this enormous blue flash of light that lit up everything from horizon to horizon, sort of like a blue emergency light but immensely stronger. A meteor had come down and exploded overhead, illuminating everything briefly. The meteor itself turned out to have been visible from Norfolk to Ottawa, but only a few places got lit up like Vermont did. Number 3. Alien Encounter. From Mr. Fuzzy Bagels, I was driving through Kansas on I-70 at night once when I was hit with one of the craziest thunderstorms I've ever seen. It was so bad the road started flooding a bit and I had to pull into a service plaza and wait it out. Then the creepy part happened. As I was sitting in the truck watching the storm, there was a series of lightning strikes followed by a blackout. Suddenly, a massively bright light starts moving behind the clouds. Too slowly to be an aircraft, but too fast to be part of the storm system. It moves up over the hills or trees before crossing directly overhead, then disappears a bit behind the service plaza. The transit from tree line to plaza took maybe 5 to 10 minutes tops, and while it was overhead, it cast everything in an eerie blue glow and lit up the parking lot. I seriously thought aliens were invading. Anyway, within 10 minutes of the creepy light disappearing, the rain completely stopped and the parking lot lights came back on, like someone flipped a switch. I got out of there while looking in my mirrors for spaceships or those alien walkers from War of the Worlds. Number 2. The roll cage saved him. From user Foxbody, going to get a damn Christmas tree with my then GF, driving my then beautiful 85 Yoda. It's been snowing, but the roads are pretty clear. I'm cruising at maybe 50 around a gentle bend, which leads to a bridge. There's a little bump where the concrete transitions to the bridge. This happens to mark where a large patch of black ice starts. As soon as the rear tires hit the bump, the rear end pops out 90 degrees and the car slides sideways directly through the oncoming lane of traffic, at the guardrail. I have enough time to say, holy S, this isn't happening, before I hit the guardrail head on, which flips the truck and it begins rolling. Rolled maybe 4 or 5 times down the whole length of the bridge, ending up on the shoulder of the opposite side of the road, 2 feet from sliding down a cliff towards a river. Roll cage saved my life, I'm pretty sure. Number 1. Minefield. This last entry comes from Bob Rayner. Driving through a minefield whilst arguing with the co-driver about which route had been cleared of mines. There was definitely one mine-free route. I remember seeing somebody post a GPS trail on the internet. Wasn't it over there? All this sand and scrub looks the same. Yikes. Yeah, might have been a short one, but that sure is a situation I would not want to be in. Well, thanks for watching. Those were 10 scary road trip stories that will make you want to go the other way. Leave a like and comment if you think we missed anything. We hope you have a scary day.